Welcome to the Ballard Proud podcast. It seems everyone can agree that Ballard is a fantastic school district, and when asked why, the answer always includes some reference to, well, it's people and relationships. So I'm on a mission to get to know the people of Ballard and find out why everyone is so proud to be part of this district. I'm Danny Trimble, Superintendent for the Ballard District, and I'd love for you to come along with me on this journey to uncover what it means to be Ballard Proud. Welcome to this edition of the Ballard Proud podcast. We have guest Trent Duniven with us today, our new assistant principal at the high school. So we have a great opportunity to get to know just a little bit more about him as we get set to roll into our school year. So Mr. Duniven, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
We're going to start with a little background. Tell us about your path to Ballard.
So I grew up in southeastern Wisconsin, and originally I wanted to go to a UW school, but my mom and dad wanted me to go to an out-of-state school to broaden my horizons. So that led me to UNI, close enough to home, but far enough away where apparently they wanted me gone. After UNI, Waterloo Schools reached out and they offered me a job. So as a young guy, I took advantage of the first job that came my way. And I spent 13 years in the Waterloo Schools. I began in a challenging middle school math position where I started halfway through the year and just really learned the classroom management side of things. So after 2 years of that, I decided to move to an even more challenging position by teaching Algebra 1 at the high school for only ninth grade students. It was in this position that I realized I had a passion not only for building strong, resilient learners, but I was looked at by my peers as a leader. So that passion for cultivating relationships with reluctant learners while also being looked at as a leader led me to their at-risk program. I started there as a math teacher, but eventually became the coordinator and led that program until coming here to Ballard.
We're so glad to have you here and that you bring that background with you. Can't wait to see what you can do with us.
Yeah.
So thinking about maybe all the experiences you've gotten to have in education, you can decide whether this is as a student or as a school employee. What's your most memorable moment?
Well, the correct answer here for my wife is the day I met her. But I will look at this as both as an employee and as a student, because I think they're both worth mentioning for me personally. So my most memorable memory as a student is actually probably my least finer moments in life. I was going through some things outside of school, and everything wasn't going well, and that reared its ugly head in a math classroom. I can't tell you what I was doing, but I can tell you that I reacted in a way that I'm not proud of, and it definitely involved throwing a piece of paper across the room. And I say this because what happened next really defined what happened in my life. The teacher had every right to kick me out of the classroom, but instead walked over to that piece of paper, picked it up, and brought it to her desk. And about 5 minutes later, gave me that piece of paper back, and all it had on it was circled the mistake I had made, and she went back to her desk again. It seemed like such a minute detail of my life, but it ended up really having a great impact because I'm a math education major now. That teacher had every right to kick me out of the class, suspend me, ruin my relationship with math. But for whatever reason, made a decision to just let me have my moment and then come back to it. And that's so important to me because at the time I didn't see the importance of it, but looking back, it's really shaped how I interact with not only my own kids, but how I interact with students. And just knowing that I was going through a hard time and somebody had compassion on me and understood that my reaction to the math problem was nothing to do with math, but more of what happened to me outside of school, really kind of leads how I act and how I try to be with students as well. So very miniature. I don't know who the teacher was. I don't know what we were working on, but it's memorable because of the way I felt and how I reacted and how the teacher reacted. So I think that's worth mentioning. And then my most memorable experience as an educator is just watching the students at the end of our at-risk program, seeing those students graduate. My favorite thing is being invited to the grad parties and getting to talk to the family where they say to me, like, we didn't think our student was going to graduate. And the truth is, there were times when I didn't think so either. So, it was just as much of a celebration for me to go to those grad parties and see that work come full circle of how excited students were to graduate and how hard they had to work to make it happen. So those were driving factors for me to show up to work every single day, and they continue to be driving factors for me here at Ballard to show up and just reach every single student here at the high school.
Well, pivot for us, Trent. I have already quickly learned that you are busy. You have a lot going on. So what do you like to do in your spare time?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned it. I'm a family man, so spare time is solely around the kids. I'm in that stage of life where the 3 kids keep us busy, so spare time is few and far between. But one of the things I actually enjoy watching my kids put in the work and the effort needed to be successful. So a lot of my time in that spare time is actually spent with them, helping them set goals and doing what it takes to meet their goal. So when we're not doing those things, a lot of it's just hanging out, watching a movie. My wife and I like to go for walks. We also like to take the top off of our Jeep and just drive around and get lost. So we've done that a lot here in Huxley because we don't know the area. So there's been definitely a lot of time where we've just spent together, just exploring and just spending time with each other. But some of the favorite things I like to do is just whatever the kids are into and just watching them discover new passions and do what it takes to be successful in those passions.
There's really nothing much better than that. Yeah. So everything is new for our Ballard community about Trent Duniven, getting to know you, but what do you think would surprise us to know about you?
So about 7 years ago, when my kids started their passion for hockey, I found out that it cost $200 an hour to rent ice. That was not acceptable. So I did some Google research and learned how to build my own ice rink. And that ignited a 7-year passion of getting better and better at it each year. The kids are already excited, and some of our neighbors are already excited to hear we do plan on building one in our backyard this year. And it's just become one of those things that it's what I was known for, is that guy builds backyard rinks. I've built some for friends. I've built some for different people. And it's just something I enjoy doing because it gets the kids outside during the winter time. When a lot of, that gets harder in the winter with kids and what you do with them. So I enjoy building those. I enjoy seeing kids come over. It's a unique thing.
That is very unique. I think we'll all be keeping an eye out for that.
Yeah.
So we talked earlier about just our excitement to have you here in the district with your experience and getting to know you, and we know you feel the same. What are you really looking forward to about joining us here at Ballard?
The people, and I know that's a common answer. Going through my interview process, I walked out of the interview process, called my wife and said that these people are awesome. And I felt it from not only the admin team, but from the staff meetings that I went to and the community side of it too. Everyone was welcoming, and we've just continued to feel that. So it's such a cliche answer, but it's true. The people of Ballard are what make Ballard special. We've jumped headfirst into the community. I'm looking forward to doing the same at the high school. I can't wait to get to know the students and build meaningful relationships with not only them, but their families as well. So, the core value here at Ballard states that each child matters, and to my core, that is who I am. Specifically, I will be working hard to ensure that each student has a meaningful connection to the school. And that portrait of a graduate is the best description of the skills I want students to graduate with. And I believe that I can help students get there, especially our resilient students. I really believe I can help build resilient learners with strong characters. So I'm looking forward to utilizing what I've learned during my time in education, but also looking forward to what Ballard's already having in place with their portrait of a graduate and just getting right to that work here starting August 25th.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your plans already to just make us better.
I'm going to try.
All right. Thank you, Trent.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ballard Proud. There's more to come as we dive into what it means to be Ballard Proud. Until next time, I'm Superintendent Danny Trimble, and I hope you have a great day.